Hey there, it is Rob from Crypto Bobby, and today we are talking about Bitcoin hitting an all-time high, a new all-time high, which is basically what's new every single day, because August has been a hell of a run for Bitcoin. And then outside of that, I want to talk about the difference between trading fiat pairings versus trading cryptocurrency pairings, and how the two, if you're fairly new to the crypto space, kind of how the two are different, how gains are made and losses are made on either end of the spectrum. And so you can best be aware of things when you are trading for cryptocurrency, both from a fiat perspective and then from a crypto to crypto perspective. So that is what we're going to cover today. If you are new to the channel, would love for you to hit the subscribe button. Crypto Bobby is a daily YouTube video, and then we also have a live stream happy hour type deal every once in a while, every other few days, where we just hang out, kind of shoot the shit and talk with y'all. Outside of that, let's hop into the important stuff today, and that is Bitcoin again hitting a new all-time high. And this was over briefly today, as of within maybe an hour or so ago. This right now being August 17th, close to 9 a.m. on the Eastern, basically on the East Coast in the United States. Bitcoin hit, as we can see here, just over $4,500 or so, or close to it. Really close to it. The line really can't even differentiate between it, but around $4,501, and that is it. Very slowly broke that price and went down a little bit, and now we're sitting about $85 underneath, $75 underneath that price, that kind of all-time high of $4,501. And this is on GDAX, obviously, but kind of looking at where Bitcoin is moving and if things can really still keep up that momentum. And it's a little bit hard to tell because we are in fairly uncharted territories. There's not a great way to look at things and accurately determine whether or not this price stability can keep up. I've heard things on both sides of the house. I've heard people that say Bitcoin is going to continue to rally to $5,000 to potentially $7,000. And then I've also heard people expecting a crash down to $3,000, potentially below, because of people trying to push down the prices and try to get in at a lower percentage point. But I would keep an eye on it. If you are holding, I would hold for now. Maybe have an exit point that you are looking to take profits at if it drops to a specific range, maybe in the 3,000s, that you are still making a profit, but you'd like to get out of. But that's just my thought process there. Outside of Bitcoin hitting an all-time high today, which is big news in the cryptocurrency space, there you can see, even if you Google Bitcoin all-time high now, literally happened within the past hour, and there's already a flood of news articles that are happening right now. So I would assume it's going to be good for the space, at least in the near term. Just more exposure, more exposure. Every time Bitcoin hits an all-time high, the exposure just continues to increase rapidly, and especially when it's as high as $4,500, which is incredible. So that's fantastic to hear. Whether you're holding Bitcoin or you're in other currencies, I think it's great for the industry as a whole. Outside of that, the one big thing today I really wanted to discuss and wanted to talk about was trading fiat currency, was trading crypto to fiat currency and then crypto to crypto, and how that's different. So at least for myself being in the US, and I think it's somewhat similar perhaps for a lot of people, regardless of whether you're in the US or not, but at least in the US, there's really only so many exchanges where you can kind of get fiat currency, so United States dollars, US dollars, into cryptocurrency. And when you do that, or the reason for that being, number one, is because a lot of these exchanges that will deal directly with the US dollar, like Coinbase, GDAX, like we'd see here, Coinbase, GDAX, and Gemini from the Winklevoss twins is another one. But a lot of those have to be compliant with the BIT license from New York, which is a really difficult piece of, or complicated piece of legislation, a complicated piece of legal regulations, really, that restrict the amount of, that restrict how you can conduct business within New York specifically, but also really for the greater United States as a whole. And with that regulation, it makes it so that the majority of exchanges are not really interested in taking US dollars. So with that being said, if you're looking, or if you're starting to get into the crypto space, the way you're likely going to do it is through something like Coinbase or a Gemini or similar type of exchange, whatever it might be, and you're going to put US dollars or the euro or whatever your home currency is, and you're going to put that. And the most likely thing right now is you're going to be able to buy like either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin is kind of the three main ones that you'll probably be able to buy with the pairing that you have, or with the local currency that you have. So outside of that, though, once I get money, in my overall strategy really right now is, so I'll buy some Bitcoin, I'll buy some Ethereum through Coinbase, or really more accurately through GDAX because of the low fees. I'll buy them through GDAX, and then I will keep some. I'll keep some within GDAX for trading. I'll keep some Bitcoin and Ethereum in GDAX for trading just for fun. I will move a lot of that to my Ledger Nano S so that I have that in safekeeping and that I'm not tempted to trade as much of it. And then additionally, I will move a good amount of it to Bittrex, or I'll move a little bit to Bittrex to buy altcoins with this, with the Bitcoin or with the Ethereum that I have, or with both that I have, so that I can get some exposure to these different altcoins. Because on GDAX, you can only trade here, as you can see, you can trade Bitcoin, you can trade Ethereum, and you can trade Litecoin as well. So, when you're looking at that, a couple different things you want to understand is there's different ways to, outside of just trading, you can see here we have the Bitcoin to the US dollar, and then we also have, or ETH to US dollar, and then we also have ETH to Bitcoin, or we have Litecoin to US dollar, and then we also have Litecoin to Bitcoin. So there's different ways to, there's different ways to look at this. There's different ways to, from your perspective, if you have a certain trading strategy, there's kind of different ways around this. And what I'll explain by that is essentially, so right now, if we look at the Ethereum to US price chart, Ethereum is up 4% in the last 24 hours. However, if you are looking to, if you bought Ethereum, if you took Bitcoin and you bought Ethereum, and you wanted to buy back into Bitcoin in the near future, you wanted to trade your Bitcoin back to Ethereum, right now that trade would actually lose you 3% of the Bitcoin you originally bought with, because, or at least within the past 24 hours, you would have 3% less Bitcoin because Bitcoin rose up against the US dollar 7.18%, whereas Ethereum only rose up against the US dollar 4%. So if you're trying to trade not just Ethereum to US dollar, but if you're trying to trade ETH to Bitcoin, you would actually have lost money, or you wouldn't have lost money, you would have made US dollars. You would have made a 4% profit potentially in US dollars. But if you would have just kept your money in Bitcoin, you would have made 3% more. You didn't make as much. So that's something you want to be aware of, because I think some people that are newer in the space or just a little bit more moderate in terms of trading don't necessarily always understand that. And it's a lot simpler when you're talking about these kind of three pairings here: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin on GDAX. So it's a very simplified chart. But let's pop open Bittrex and let's take a look at that and how that can develop your strategy. So right now, within the past, we'll look at the Bitcoin market. Right now, as we've seen, within the past 24 hours, Bitcoin is up 7.5%. So if we look at something like Monaco within the past 24 hours is up 133% against Bitcoin. That's not against fiat currency. So because this is the Bitcoin to Monaco trade pairing here, that is up 133% on the Bitcoin to Monaco pairing. So you would also increase that if you're looking at how much fiat money did I make? How many US dollars for me did I make? If I had Bitcoin yesterday and I bought Monaco today, and I switched, basically if I had Bitcoin yesterday and I switched my Bitcoin yesterday from Bitcoin to Monaco, not only would I have made the 131% right now that Monaco is up against Bitcoin, but also if you're thinking in terms of fiat percentages, I'm also up 7% on Bitcoin. So I'm really up maybe 137, 138% is kind of where that percentage basis is up at this point in time. So that's something to consider. And the reason why I mention this, the reason why I think this is interesting is because you can see something. Let's take a look down here at Ethereum. Everything is pretty much moving against Bitcoin right now. But okay, so let's look at OMG, Omise Go. So ETH versus OMG right now is at OMG is up 0.3%. So 0.3, basically up nothing against Ethereum today. So it really hasn't moved much at all. But when you're looking at this, you might be saying to yourself, well, OMG is not moving. I want to get rid of it, whatever. OMG is actually still up because Ethereum is up. It has trailed Ethereum. It has kept even with Ethereum to the point of being, Ethereum being up 4%. So in reality, if you have OMG right now, while the market really hasn't moved, it was at 0% right now. It's at -1%, or it's down 1%. It's still up fiat currency over the course of the day. So that's something you want to keep in mind. That's something you want to have an understanding on, because let's say Bitcoin rockets up 20%, and an altcoin that you have, or we can even use Ethereum for an example here, looking at this chart. So let's say, just for example's purposes, this is not the case now, but NEO is now down 16% within the past 24 hours. But for example, let's say Ethereum was up 20%. So in reality, you're still making money with NEO. You're just not making as much relative to the price gain of Ethereum. Now, if things are in the other direction, let's say if Ethereum is down, if your trade pairing is Ethereum to another cryptocurrency, if Ethereum is down, and let's say Ethereum is down 10% and NEO is up 5%, NEO is actually, from a US dollar perspective, losing money because of the trade pairing, because Ethereum, it's trading against Ether, and while it's up against Ether, it's not up as much against Ether to account for the dive that ETH is taking. So that's something you want to be aware of. Now, why do I say this? A couple things just from a general education standpoint. I think it's important to understand that there's really two kind of basic trading plays that you can have. You can trade crypto against your fiat currency, the US dollar, the euro, whatever it might be, and you can trade crypto to crypto. And when you're trading crypto to crypto, the majority of cryptocurrencies are going to be that you'll trade against are Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, there is one alternative, and this is almost like a get around of, this is in a lot of perspectives kind of funny, but it's almost a get around for the regulation, because people are scared, in a lot of exchanges are scared to interact directly with the United States dollar. So somebody, I don't remember the exact company that created this, but they created the USDT, which is the US dollar tethered. It's called the tether, and its purpose is to keep its value to almost exactly $1. Like, it might go up a cent, it might be up to like 101, it might be 99 cents worth it, but essentially it's a cryptocurrency where its entire valuation is supposed to be worth $1, so that you don't have to move your money back into GDAX. Like, let's say I think there's a crash coming. I think there's a crash coming right now. Bitcoin is at an all-time high. I want to sell all my Bitcoin. I think it's going to crash, and I want to buy back lower. So rather than going back to, if I have my Bitcoin for whatever reason on Bittrex, I can transfer that directly to USDT and not have it leave the Bittrex exchange, rather than move it to GDAX and put it in US dollars. And the reason for that is there's a multitude of reasons for that. And what's interesting is it makes life a little bit easier. You don't have to leave the exchange. However, and this is kind of the interesting point too, is if you're looking at this, you can see here the actual true. You can see here there's not a massive market for all of Tether trading pairs yet, but you can see here that the majority of this will actually show pretty near close to what the percentage of gain is for the real US dollar. So, USDT, Bitcoin is up 7.4%. We're looking at 7.25% for Bitcoin there. So that's also another consideration you want to have in place is, if you're looking for a really fast way, if you think there's a crash coming, you're looking for like a really fast way out, you don't have enough time to transfer between like Bittrex and another exchange, what you can do is you can park that money in the US dollar tether for the time being and make a trade in that regard. Now, the last thing I think to think about when you're looking at this is when you are doing these trade pairings, what are you trying to do? So I think there's kind of a couple different main strategies really, and the main strategies in many senses are: I want to increase my fiat stack, I want to increase my Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin or whatever stack. So what I mean by that is, let's say right now the profit of Bitcoin is up. It's up 7.9% right now as we're kind of watching this in real time. So it's up 7.9%. Do I ultimately want to hold all that, or do I, and increase the number of Bitcoins that I have by as much as possible, or do I want to, take profits and have that in fiat at a certain point in time? Or, perhaps we can go up here and let's say ultimately right now you have Monaco Coin. Monaco Coin is up 125% over the past 24 hours. So if you bought Monaco Coin with 1 Bitcoin yesterday, now you can transfer that to like 2.25 Bitcoins. So is your goal to take that and then take that 2.25 Bitcoins and then turn that into fiat currency at a certain point in time? Or ultimately, are you so confident in Bitcoin's success long term that you're happy to, you just saw Monaco, went up 125%. You had 1 Bitcoin yesterday, now you have 2.25 Bitcoins. If you make that trade, you're going to make that trade, you're going to keep that Bitcoin, keep that profit in Bitcoin and not worry about necessarily the price of Bitcoin. And the reason for that, and kind of what the thought process there is Bitcoin certainly could go down in the near future. We're at $4,400, but if you continue to make similar trades like that where you can accumulate more and more Bitcoin, is that your ultimate goal, or is your ultimate goal to have X amount of dollars within cryptocurrency in valuation in fiat, and then maybe cash out some of that and kind of live your life, do whatever you want to do? You want to define your goal, because that is going to ultimately define your trading strategy and how you hold things, how you trade things. And I'm not even talking about necessarily like day trading. I'm just saying how you interact with these cryptocurrencies. Is the goal for you to increase your holdings in a fiat relation, or is it to really trade some of these altcoins and buy some of these altcoins, and when they rocket up like a Monaco did today or like an ADX did, are you looking for some of those profits in Bitcoin or some of those profits in Ethereum, keeping those because you think long term that those are going to be really good plays and you want to hold on to them for as long as possible? You want to understand that just for yourself and for your own well-being, so that you can have developed strategy when it comes to making moves in the market. And that's really what I wanted to cover on the day. If you do have any questions just in regards to fiat trading pairings versus crypto to crypto trading pairings, anything I've mentioned, any coins you want me to evaluate in the near future, please let me know. Happy to keep you informed as much as possible. And again, if you are new here, definitely hit that subscribe button. It would be fantastic. And I have some links in the description for different things, whether it is a private Facebook group that we just opened up to talk a little bit about what's going on in the space and try to get as many ideas from everybody as possible and learn as much as possible about different coins to keep an eye on, different things to feature in videos, different things to learn about. Also have some other links there as far as if you are looking to to grab anything to secure your crypto wallet, if you're looking for a Ledger Nano S or anything like that, definitely head into the description there as well. I appreciate the time. Thanks for watching. Good luck holding, buying, selling, trading, whatever you're doing. All the respect in the world for you. Welcome to this, and have a great day. Rob from Crypto Bobby signing out. Have a good one.